Hi students, welcome back to the world of English. In today's session, we are going to begin with new unit 3, which is titled as Human Relations. Unit 3 is titled as Human Relations. And reading A we have The Journey. Reading B we have Once Upon a Time poem. Reading C we have What is My Name. Okay, so our new unit 3 is titled as Human Relations. Okay. Dear students, before we get into the actual part of our text, let's know little bit about the author. The author of the journey is Eshe Dorji Thongching. It's a single name, okay? Eshe Dorji Thongching. It was translated by D.P. Nath. Eshe Dorji Thongchi, he was born in May 1952, is a prominent name in Assami literature. Okay, it's a prominent name in Assami literature. Though he grew up in poverty, he studied well and entered Arunachal Pradesh civil service and was later elevated to the Indian Administrative Service. He writes fictions, drama, and essays in Assami and English. He has received a national recognition with his novel Mauna Aunt Mukhard Hriday, which won the Sahitya Akademi Award in 2005. Many of Thongchi's novels, including Sonam, deal with the cultural life of the Monpa and the Shardukpen tribes of Arunachal Pradesh. Look at the picture and read the following excerpt from the diary of a 72-year-old man. As I sit here alone and waiting, I gaze at people passing me by. I try to smile and reach out to them, but no one notices, no one waits. They look to me like I'm nothing. Are they afraid to be seen saying hi to an old man like me? So, well, students, now what is this excerpt about? This is all about an old man who is alone and waits for the people to gaze at him, smile at him, and talk to him. But at the end, he feels neglected as he became old. Now, how do people respond to the old man's smile? The old man tries to smile and reach out to them, but no one notices him. Okay? No one waits for him. They neglect him completely. Now, how should old people be treated so that they do not feel neglected? How we have to treat them? Old people should be treated with love and compassion. When they were young and strong, they dedicated their time and strength to pave the way for the young. So now it is a turn for the young to give them respect and companionship as they became old and weak. Then they do not feel neglected. Okay? The journey is a tale that depicts the value of human relationships. It portrays the feelings that a father and his son have for each other. The son is all set to rejoin work after a long break of 6 months that he took for his marriage. He finds his trunk very heavy to carry up the hill. Noticing this, the father takes up the task of doing this. While waiting at the bus stand, the father quietly asks the son if he has a pair of old shoes to spare. It is then that the son notices that the father has been walking barefoot all along. He gives his father money to buy a pair of new shoes, which the latter politely refuses and insists on having only old shoes. Finally, the son hands over his hunting shoes to his dad. After this, both of them begin the journeys of their lives in opposite directions. So, this is a summary of the lesson, the journey that we are going to read and discuss and learn. Okay, so this is a summary of the lesson reading A, the journey. Okay. Well, students, let's get back to the textual part of our lesson. After spending a leisurely Sunday at home, the very thought of returning to work on Monday is tiring. Lethargy creeps in if the holiday continues over an expanded period. Okay, now let's know the meanings of some of the words. Okay, leisurely is having leisure or relaxed. Okay, relaxing. Leisurely is relaxing. Then lethargy. What is meant by lethargy? The state of not having any energy or enthusiasm for doing things. You don't have any energy of doing anything. Okay. Now what is meant by tiring? Tiring is tired, getting exhausted. Okay, now after spending a leisurely Sunday at home, Sunday what do? We just relax, right? So after spending our time at home on Sunday, the next day morning we are supposed to go or get back to our work, right? So we feel so tired because the Sunday we completely spend in relaxing, and to get back to the work on Monday feels like a very tired. We don't feel like just getting back to our work. Now lethargy creeps in if the holiday continues over an expanded period. Now just imagine, just for one single day we feel so tired and exhausted, and we feel so bored to get back to our work. But if the holiday continues for a longer period of time, okay, if the holiday or the leisure or time of relaxing expands for a long time, just imagine, we don't even feel like getting back, right? Lethargy creeps in. Lethargy is, you will not even have enthusiasm and energy to get back to the work. Just for one single day we feel it, right? But imagine if the expanded period of leisurely time is given, we don't even feel like getting back. Okay. This is how I felt when I was preparing to return to my place of work after spending 6 months at home. The fact that I was to leave behind my newly wedded wife and go to a far off place did not help either. Okay, now please understand here, I is a narrator. Okay, I is a narrator. This narrator or the author lived in a hilly terrain of Assam. Okay, he lived in a hilly terrain of Assam. The author is Eshe Dorji Thongchi. Eshe Dorji Thongchi. Okay, fine. So it was the same feeling of the author or the narrator. The narrator says that he also felt the same after spending 6 months of leisurely time at home. Okay, he spent almost 6 months at home because he was getting married. Okay, so he had to stay at home for meeting some of the rituals according to the tribes of his own. Okay, so it was very difficult for the narrator to get back to his work after 6 months of leisurely time. Obviously, I did not want to go. However, I finally decided to go. I did not have much to carry by a way of luggage, just a trunk. Okay, so obviously the narrator did not want to go because leaving his newly wedded wife, okay, and spending almost 6 months at home, he could not even think of getting back. He did not feel like getting back to his work, but finally he decided to go. Okay, finally he decided to go by carrying his luggage. The luggage was only just a trunk. The luggage was only just a trunk. Ours is a hilly terrain without any motorable roads, and there is no certainty that we are ever going to have any roads. In any case, while coming home, we do not carry bedding. So, where does the author live? He lives in a hilly terrain. What is meant by terrain? It's a large extent area of land. Large extent area of land. So, he lived in a hilly terrain without any motorable roads. Without any motorable roads, what is meant by motorable? Motorable, that can be used by motor vehicles, motorable roads. Okay, so they did not have any motorable roads, they did not have pakka roads, okay, where the vehicles which use motors can pass by. Okay, so they did not have motorable roads, and there is no certainty that we are going to have any roads. So the author says that there is no certainty, it's undoubted fact. There is no certainty, there is no doubt that they are going to have any in the further, which means they will not have or they may not have. Okay, in any case, while coming home we do not carry bedding. Okay, they do not carry bedding. What is meant by bedding? Bedding is pillows, bed sheets. Okay, so the author says that he does not carry any bedding. Okay. Besides, I had come home this time round for a special purpose, to get married. My parents had arranged my marriage according to the customs of our tribal society. Okay, so what was the purpose of the narrator coming home? To get married, and his parents had arranged marriage according to the custom of their tribal society. It's clear, right? So, what was the purpose of you know his coming home? To get married, and his parents had arranged marriage according to the customs of their tribal society. Time flew, and 5 months into my marriage, I realized it. Initially, I thought of extending my leave, even taking unpaid leave. Okay, so the narrator had come home to get married, and 5 months flew, and the narrator or the author did not even realize how 5 months passed, and he realized it, and he thought of extending his leave. He thought of extending his leave, even taking unpaid leaves. Okay, now what is meant by unpaid? Work done agreed, work done without agreed payment. Okay, it's like voluntary. Okay, so he thought of extending his leave, but after some dilly dallying, I finally decided against it, because marriage had increased my responsibilities and I had got into debt. Okay, so the narrator or the author was in dilemma to stay back at home for a few more days, or to get back to his work, because spending almost 6 months, he felt taking few more days to remain at home, and it was difficult for him to leave his newly wedded wife. But after some time, some dilly dallying. Now what is meant by dilly dallying? Taking a long time to do something. Okay, after a long a discussion or decision making, he finally decided against it. Okay, now what is meant by decided against it? He thought of staying back at home, but finally he decided to get back to the work, because marriage had increased his responsibilities, and moreover he got into debt. Okay, he got into debt. Now what is meant by debt? A state of obligation to pay something owned. He had borrowed money from others. Okay, so simple. The narrator was actually unwilling to get back to his work, but finally he decided to get back to his work, because the marriage had increased his responsibilities towards a family, and moreover he got into debt. Okay, he might have borrowed money from others, and he had to give it back, right? So he finally decides to get back to his work. On my way home from the bus stop, my trunk had been carried by a porter. The problem now was we couldn't find anyone who could help me carry the trunk to the bus stop. Okay, now when the narrator was coming to his house from the bus stop, his trunk had been carried by a porter. Now, who is a porter? Porter is a person employed to carry luggage. Okay, luggage carrier. Okay, the person one who carries luggage. Okay, so the narrator's trunk had been carried to the house from the bus stop when he was coming home by a porter. Okay, porter had carried his luggage, but now what is the problem? There is nobody to help him to carry the trunk to the bus stop. While coming from the bus stop, there was a porter, but now nobody else is there. At another time of the year, we would have easily found someone to help me, but now most of the villagers were busy in the fields. Nobody had time to spare for me. Okay, so what is the reason that the narrator is unable to find a porter now? Because they are all engaged in field work. Okay, it is a time, it's a time of the year. Okay, it was a time of the year. Um, where all the people are engaged in field works. Okay, before it was not that difficult, it was easy to find someone to carry. Okay, but now it has become difficult because everybody is engaged in the field work and nobody is able to spare time for him, which means nobody is there to help him to carry the trunk to the bus stop. In fact, carrying the trunk shouldn't have been such a worry for me, except that my education had made me shun physical labor. Okay, now the narrator says that carrying just, that small trunk, it wouldn't have been a worry for him. Okay, it wouldn't have been a big thing for the narrator to carry the trunk, but his education had made him shun the physical labor. Now what is meant by shun? To avoid something or somebody. Okay, so his education had made him not to carry or not to do physical labor. Physical labor, carrying a trunk is a physical labor, right? So he says carrying a trunk is not a big thing, but his education had made him to avoid carrying the trunk. Okay, after all, I was a government officer, and the idea of people seeing me carry my own luggage was not at all amusing. Okay, so the narrator, he says that because of his education, he feels, shy. Okay, we can say he feels shy to carry his luggage, or his education made him to shun his physical labor, because after all he was a government officer, and people seeing him carrying his own luggage was not at all amusing. Now what is meant by amusing? Making someone to laugh. So the narrator or the author thought that if he carry his own luggage, people would laugh at him. He thought that the people would laugh at him seeing him carrying his luggage. Okay? Otherwise, for a young man like me, it shouldn't have been an issue to carry a 20-kilo chest on my back. Okay, now do you understand? So the narrator says, okay, the narrator says that he is a government employee or government officer, and if people see him carrying the luggage, the people may laugh at him. He thinks that people may laugh at him. Otherwise, he says, otherwise, for a young man to carry a 20-kilo is not a big thing. He says, being as a young man, it's not a big thing to carry a 20-kilo chest on his back. Okay. Finally, my father came up with a solution. Don't worry, I myself will see you off at the rung. I protested. How could I allow my old father to carry my trunk? What would people think? What would they say? But I failed to dissuade him. It was decided that father would carry the chest. Okay, so as nobody else was available to carry the trunk to the bus stop, the narrator's father comes up with a solution. Okay, the narrator's father came up with a solution. Now what is the solution? He says that he himself will carry the trunk to the bus stop, to Dirang. Do you understand? The narrator's father comes up with a solution, and he says that he himself would carry the trunk to the trunk. Okay, but the narrator protested. He said, how can I allow? The narrator feels, okay, the narrator feels and says that, how can I allow my old father to carry my trunk? And what the people think of me? What would the people think of me? But the narrator could not dissuade him, could not convince his father. Okay, so finally it was decided that his father would carry the trunk to the bus stop. Okay, a large crowd gathered at our place the day I was to leave. People had come to wish me luck. It was 10:20 when I left for Dirang. My father had already left. Okay. Now it so happens in the villages when someone leaves for work, everyone goes and says, all the best, take care. Right? The same thing had happened for the author. So a large crowd gathered at his place to say goodbye and good luck for the narrator. Okay, so people had come to wish him good luck and all the best as he was leaving or getting back to his work, and it was already 10:20. Father had already left to Dirang. He already started his journey towards Dirang. Okay, as I had to do a bit of catching up, I walked fast. 3 kilometers down the road, I caught up with my father. Father said, you are late. Would you like to rest for some time? Okay, so before the narrator could leave the house, already father had left to Dirang. He already started his journey, and the narrator was, just receiving the wishes from his villagers. Okay, so since already father had left, the narrator had to do some catch up with the father. He had to walk fast. So he started walking fast. 3 kilometers down the road, he caught up. He caught up his father. So when father saw his son, the narrator, he said, you are late. The narrator was late, and the father asks his son, the narrator, if he wants some time to rest. Okay. Having walked fast, I was tired. Moreover, I had to cross 2 hills on the way up to the spot. I quickly sat down on a rock. My father laughed at my plight. So, this little distance has tired you? Rest for a while. So, as the narrator had to walk very fast to catch up with his father, he became very tired. Okay, the narrator becomes very tired as he walked fast to catch up his father, and moreover, he had to cross 2 hills on the way to catch his father. Okay, so when father asks, would you like to have some time for rest? Immediately, the narrator sat on a rock, and father looks at his son and he laughs. This little distance has tired you? Okay, the father asks his son that, that little distance that he walked made him tired. Okay, and father says that, he asks his son to rest for a while. But we have to be in time for the bus. Father was quiet for some time. He thoughtfully looked at the sun for a moment, and then his eyes fell on the can of homemade wine that I was carrying. Wetting his lips with his tongue, he said in a matter of fact manner, I am thirsty. Okay, so both the son and father are resting, right? But they had to be in time for the bus. Okay, and the father was quiet for some times, and father just looked at the sun. It was too hot. Okay, and finally his eyes, the narrator's father's eyes, fell on the homemade wine. His eyes fell on the can of homemade wine who was carrying, the son was carrying. So the father wetting his lips with his tongue, and he says to his son, wetting his lips, he looks at his son and says that he was thirsty. Okay. I gave him the can of wine. He poured himself a mug and handed me the can. He drank all of it at one go. He then arranged the belt that was attached to the trunk carefully on his forehead. Okay, so when father asks his son, and when he says that he was thirsty, the narrator, the son, gave him the can of wine. So the father he pours himself a mug, he takes a mug of wine and he gives back the can to the son. And how did father drink? He drank all the wine at one go. Okay, with one sip, he drinks all the wine. That mug of wine is drunk. Okay, and then father arranged a belt that was attached to the trunk carefully on his forehead, a strap which is tied to the trunk. Okay, so father, he keeps the belt on his forehead and he starts carrying the trunk. Okay, so this was a picture, my father carrying my luggage on his back and me following him with a tiny bag in my hand. We were walking up a narrow hilly road and neither of us uttered a word, as if we were strangers who spoke different languages. Okay, so after resting a while and having a sip of wine or a mug of wine, both of them started their journey. Okay, so father was carrying the son's luggage on his back and the son was following his father with a small bag in his hand. The father is having 20 kilo of chest, okay, of a trunk on his back, and the son is carrying a small bag in his hand, and both of them were walking up a narrow hilly road and neither of them uttered a word. They did not even say a word, and they were like strangers who were talking in different languages. Okay, as if they were like strangers, both of them continued their journey. Okay, I did not know what was going on in his mind. From time to time, it crossed my mind that it was improper for me to let my father carry the luggage. I wanted to tell him that I would like to carry the trunk myself, but my guilt and shame did not allow me to do so. Okay, so the picture is that the father is carrying the son's luggage and the son is having a small bag in his hand. So the narrator says that he did not know what was going on in his father's mind. Okay, the narrator says that he does not know what was going on in his father's mind, and now and then he felt, okay, the narrator felt that making his old father carrying luggage was not correct. Okay, he felt it was improper making his father carrying the luggage. So the narrator felt like he wanted to tell his father that he would carry the luggage, but the narrator felt guilty and shame, and that he did not feel like asking him. Okay, the narrator felt guilt and shame that he did not feel like asking his father and say to father that he himself would carry his luggage. This self-consciousness had probably to do with my education, the white-collar job that I had, or quite simply my pride. Somehow, I had the feeling that if I carried the luggage, my father and my people, in fact, the whole world, would laugh at me and I would be belittled. Okay, so the narrator felt, he felt guilt and shame, and that's how he did not feel like asking his father that he himself would carry the luggage. Okay, now the self-consciousness. Now what is meant by self-consciousness? Feeling of nervousness about what other people think of you, what people would think of you. So self-consciousness had probably to do with his education. Okay, previously we have learned that the narrator says that he is he is a government officer. Okay, he is doing white collar job. White collar job is engaged in administrative work. White collar job is doing some administrative work. Okay, so his education had shunned his physical labor. That's how he felt ashamed to ask his father or say to his father that he himself would carry the luggage. Simple. The self consciousness had probably to do with my education, the white collar job that I had, or quite simply my pride. Simple, the narrator felt so self consciousness that he is a government officer, he is doing white collar job, and people would laugh at him if he carried the luggage. That was the only thing in his mind. Okay, the narrator felt that if he carries his luggage, including his father, his people from village, and the whole world would laugh at him and he will be belittled. Now, what is meant by belittled? Making someone unimportant. Okay, he will be regarded like unimportant. Clear? Father had provided for my education and I had been able to realize his dreams. My parents were truly proud of me. It was through me that they had earned a greater degree of admiration and respect from the villagers. It's a clear, right? So the narrator says that his father provided everything that was a need for his education, and moreover, and the narrator says that he was able to realize his dreams, his father's dreams, and his parents were very, very proud of the narrator, and all the villagers in the village admired his parents and gave lot of respect because of their son. Do you understand? My father would not like to see me carrying a trunk on my back and would be very hurt if I did so. Okay, so all these thoughts are going on in his mind. Okay, narrator's mind. Okay, he thinks, the narrator says that if I carry, okay, or if he carries a trunk, his father would be hurt. He may feel hurt seeing his son carrying the luggage. I concluded that it would be better to let him carry it. Father was used to carrying luggage anyway. He was stronger and more skilled than me in these matters. So finally, the narrator, after thinking of all this, initially he felt guilt, he felt ashamed, he felt improper making his father to carry the luggage, and finally he is trying to rationalize his thinking. He says, okay, my father would feel hurt if he carries, or if I carry the luggage. Okay, and he also says that it's because of him they got lot of respect and admiration from the villagers. Okay, so finally he concludes, the narrator concludes that it is better let my father carry the luggage, let him carry the luggage. And father used of carrying the luggage, and he also says that his father is stronger and more skilled than the narrator in these matters. Okay, I had never got used to physical labor, having stayed in the hostels right from my childhood. So, in spite of my youth and strength, I was physically useless. I continued walking silently with father. Okay, so the narrator says that his father is more skilled and stronger than him, and the narrator says that he was not used with the physical labor as he was staying in the hostels from his childhood. So, in spite of being very young and energetic, the narrator was physically useless. Okay, he says he was physically useless, so he continued walking silently with his father. Okay, simple. Okay, the narrator, he never used, he got never used with the physical labor, having carrying luggages, because he was staying in the hostels from his childhood for the purpose of education. So in spite of being very young, okay, very energetic, he was physically useless because he was not carrying the luggage, right? So he decided, let his father carry the luggage, and he silently walked with his father. Okay. We rested at two places on the way and had our tiffin, but we hardly talked. Finally, we reached Dirang. The bus from Thawang had not yet reached Dirang, and so we had some time in hand. So, before reaching Dirang, both father and son rested at two places, and they had their tiffin, but they did not utter even a single word. Both of them were like strangers, okay? So they did not even utter a word. Finally, they reached Dirang, but the bus from Tawang had not yet reached. Simple. Father and son are reaching to the bus stop. Bus stop is Dirang. Okay. So once they reached Dirang, the bus from Tawang had not yet reached Dirang. So they had some time in their hand. Okay. We entered a tea shop and sat facing each other. Father appeared tired. I felt sorry for him but couldn't bring myself to say anything. I asked the waiter to get us 2 cups of tea. Okay, so since they had some time in their hand because the bus from Tawang had not yet reached Dirang. Okay, so both of them, both father and son, went to the tea shop and sat facing each other, and father was looking very tired, and son when he saw his father looking so tired, he feels sorry for him but he couldn't say anything to his father. He asked the waiter to get 2 cups of tea for them. Okay. Just as I was going to take my first sip, I heard father's voice. Do you have a pair of old shoes? Why? I asked. The road is uneven and full of pebbles. It hurts while walking. I looked at father's bare feet. Okay, so the son ordered for 2 cups of tea, right? So after getting, when the narrator was just going to have the first sip, the father asks his son, he asks whether the son had another pair of old shoes. Okay, the father asked the son if he had another pair of old shoes, and the son asked why. Okay, the son asks why, and the father says that the road is uneven and full of pebbles. It hurts while walking. Okay, so the father says that the road is uneven. Uneven is not smooth or level, and it has full of pebbles, small stones. So when he walks on the road, it hurts. Okay, so the father says the road is uneven and full of pebbles, and while walking, it hurts him. Then the son looks at the father's bare feet, okay, because so far he did not see his father's feet. When father asks him another pair of old shoes, the son asks why, and the father explains that the road was uneven and full of pebbles, and while walking, it hurts him. Okay, and then the narrator realizes that his father was not wearing shoes. Okay. Never having owned shoes, his feet had developed cracks and somehow resembled those of an elephant. I noticed this for the first time. I hadn't noticed that the road was uneven. I didn't have to, since I was wearing a pair of hunting boots. So, father, having never owned shoes, his father's feet had developed lots of cracks and they resembled like those of an elephant feet. Okay, had lots of cracks on his father's feet. Okay, and the narrator says that he did not notice. Why he did not notice? Because he was wearing a pair of hunting boots. That's why the narrator did not know the road was uneven, the road was not smooth. Okay, do you understand? I checked my wallet and saw I still had around rupees 40 with me. A pair of canvas shoes would cost around rupees 12, and the remaining amount would be enough for me to get to Bombdilla. Okay, so when father asked for the old shoes, the narrator checks his wallet. Okay, the narrator checks his wallet and he finds rupees 40. He had 40 rupees, and a pair of canvas shoes would cost rupees 12. So the remaining amount was enough or sufficient for the narrator to get back to Bombdilla. Okay, do you understand? When the father asked for the old shoes, the narrator did not want to give the old shoes. He wanted to buy his father a new shoe. Okay, so he checks his wallet and finds rupees 40, and canvas shoes would cost him only just 12 rupees. And the narrator thought the remaining amount would have been, sufficient for him to reach to Bombdilla. Okay. My father protested, "Give me an old pair. You don't have to spend money on new shoes." I couldn't convince him to buy a new pair. Reluctantly, I gave him the hunting boots I was wearing. I then took out my pair of leather shoes from the trunk and noticed my father's face lighting up with a contentment. Okay, so the narrator wanted to buy the father new shoes, but father protested. Okay, father disapproved. Okay, he did not want his son to spend money. He did not want that his son buy new pair of shoes for him. So father says, okay, to give him an old pair of shoes, and he does not need to spend any money on new shoes. Okay, so the narrator could not convince his father of buying new shoes. Okay, new pair. So reluctantly, with a lot of hesitation, unwillingly, the narrator gives his hunting boots that he was wearing. Okay, actually the narrator wanted to buy the new shoes, but father did not accept. He says no. So finally, with a lot of unwillingness, the narrator takes his hunting boots that he was wearing and he gives to his father, and he takes another pair of leather shoes from his trunk, and father's face was lighted up with the contentment. He was very happy. Suddenly he looked at me and said, "Take care, write to us." Father wanted to say something, but the bus started moving. I saw my father gradually receding into the distance. I saw that the road we had come by looked like a giant motionless rope. Father would use the same road to go back home. So the father suddenly looked at the son and he said, "Take care," and he asked his son to write a letter to them. Okay, and father wanted to say something, but by the time the bus started moving, okay, and the narrator says that he saw his father gradually receding into the distance. Okay, because the bus started moving, right? Now what is meant by receding? Receding is move back. Okay, as the bus started moving, the father was receding into the distance, and the son says the road they had come by, it looked like a giant motionless rope. Giant is a great size. Okay, the road was like a giant motionless rope. It was looking like, a great size, a long way. Fine. Now father would use the same road to go back home. Father had to use the same road, right? But the son is going in opposite direction, but whereas the father has to move back again into the same direction. Okay. Simultaneously, our journey started in two opposite directions, with me seated in the luxurious seat of a bus and father walking back with the weary legs on the pebble strewn road. So, simultaneously, both father and son started their journey in two opposite directions. Okay, now The narrator is sitting in a luxurious bus, luxurious seat, whereas father walking back with the weary legs, okay, tired legs, okay, very tired legs on the pebble strewn road. The road is uneven and filled with pebbles. Clear? Well, students, here we end our lesson reading A, The Journey. I believe you have understood, right? See you in the next session. Till then, take care. Bye.